Hi everyone, this is Joe Brewer. I wanted to make this video to share with you a bit of my personal reflections of what's happened as Penny and I traveled through the Great Lakes, helping to activate bioregional dialogues in different communities. So briefly, what happened was between the end of January and the middle of February of 2023, we traveled to the Greater Toronto region to several cities and towns. And then we were in Binghamton, New York, Ithaca, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, and then back in Rochester, New York. And in the span of 2 weeks, we held many conversations. We were invited to a lot of events. I think I spoke at 20 public events during those 2 weeks. It was a really intense and powerful experience. And what happened, in brief, is we experienced landscapes coming alive through the hearts and the bodies of people in every group we gathered with as they felt into the sobriety and the seriousness, the gravity of our planetary predicament, together with the holistic, integrative, nurturing, and generally wholesome sense of bioregional scale regeneration. In each context where I spoke with an audience, we had the opportunity to look on a map using some of the slides that I would prepare to see where people's landscapes were embedded in the larger realm, the larger land, the larger container of the Great Lakes, and how they could participate in continental scale regenerative work by collaborating across watersheds. We delved into the uniqueness of each place. So just to give you a sense, when we were in the place called Caledon in southern Ontario, which is way over in the western part of the greater Toronto bioregion, in an area where there's a lot of agriculture, a lot of regenerative agriculture, and it's the part of the boundary of an area called the Greenbelt, which is a conservation area. This is a place that was filled with a profound sense of dynamism and friendship and neighborliness and community among all of the farmers, a really incredible feeling of solidarity and regenerative culture. And at the same time, Caledon is one of the fastest growing suburbs of Toronto, with Toronto being the largest urban landscape in all of Canada. And so you could feel this polarity, this profound paradox of tremendous depth and capacity for regenerative culture and tremendous challenges and inertia and momentum of the extractive system. We felt something similar that was unique to Cleveland, Ohio, where there's something about Cleveland. It's a place with a depth of roots. The people from there never want to leave. Some young people go to college somewhere else, and then they return when they're ready to have a family. You could feel in the presence of the people from Cleveland how much they love their landscape, how much they feel like they belong there, like they could never leave, like they'd be lost in the world without their own sense of home and belonging. And at the same time, they have this huge industrial area with incredible pollution and deep challenges. And also the east side of Cleveland has a lot of Black people, people of color, extreme poverty, heroin addiction, all kinds of challenges. And on the west side, there's a lot of gentrification and wealth and people being priced out by land speculation. And these two places are 1 mile apart with a giant industrial contamination zone in between them. And you could just feel the polarity in this depth of roots, this profound sense of cultural connectivity, and at the same time, really strong challenges in how to become a regenerative bioregion. So every landscape we went to felt like this. And one of the things that came out of this for us, that Penny and I are still integrating and trying to make sense of, is that we felt a way of entering into a landscape invited by the people from the place that we're entering who really love and really care for that place. But they often don't have any sense of what a holistic approach would be to combine all of their efforts and create a holistic solution. And then we arrive with the understanding of bioregions, of integrated landscape management, of regenerative design at cultural scales, the use of pro-social frameworks for building effective groups and healing cultural trauma, working with landscape management and landscape fund frameworks, so like what comes from the Common Land Foundation. And we could see that if we arrived into a landscape where there is a local activation team, which is local people who invite us to come, that they help organize events and gather people, and then we come and have this transformational experience, truly like touching the hearts of people, blood, sweat, and tears flowing in the conversation, a feeling of deep humanity, deep connection, deep grieving, and deep possibility. And then go to the next bioregion and feel the same thing unique to that place, helping them see that they can connect across landscapes. In this case, each bioregion being a drainage into the Great Lakes, and the Great Lakes being a planetary strategic reserve of global significance as the largest and most dense concentration of fresh water on Earth. And we could feel this connection up and down in scales. And so what I want to share with you is that this way of activating bioregions, first, it works. It really works to galvanize, to transform, to open hearts, to engage people. And two, there needs to be preparation before we arrive, especially by the activation team, because we found over and over again, people were sort of shocked by the degree of success. They were shocked by how well it worked, and they were not really prepared to know how to hold the conversation, how to weave and contain the complexity, invite the diversity of actors, diversity of perspectives, work with the different levels and the different subcultures of their place. And we could sense the need to design with the local activation teams an ongoing, multi-year, never-ending process of integrated landscape regeneration that goes for decades and then on to the next lifetime. I like to say that it's 200 to 500 years of work. And so now we understand what it is that we're doing in creating the design school for Regenerating Earth. We understand that when I wrote my book, The Design Pathway for Regenerating Earth, back in 2019 and early 2020, and then a study group formed called Earth Regenerators. Thousands of people joined it. We raised money to buy land in Barichara, Colombia, where we live. We helped create tapestries of projects at landscape scales. And then also we helped hold the social supports. And I mean we as in many, many people in Earth Regenerators helped to hold the social tapestry of relationships for people to find each other and to begin healing. What we were not very good at in the 3 years of Earth Regenerators was getting back to the land. Now what we're doing is we're starting with the land. We're starting with these bioregions, these landscapes that we're being invited into, and helping build design processes of earth regeneration within them and among them. So during the 2 weeks, we were only traveling for 2 weeks, and we visited all of these landscapes in the Great Lakes area, different bioregions connected with a larger continental scale integration. The continental scale of the boreal forest to the north, the Great Lakes as a container of water, and the Mississippi Basin to the south, the east, and the west, covering half of the continent. And we could sense very clearly that if we were to move from landscape to landscape with bioregional activations, and if we were to help local activation teams to design pro-social contexts and build toward landscape partnerships, that they could form a tapestry of bioregional projects very quickly, and then sustain them for the long term because of these different levels and different modes of support to each other. This is what the Design School for Regenerating Earth is already about. And so I want to share this with you to start to give you a feel for the significance of how different this is from anything we've done before. Honestly, the way that Penny and I felt doing this work was we felt like spiritual missionaries sent by Gaia to her own landscapes. Now, I know some of you may be uncomfortable with religious language and religious tones. I'm not talking about formal religions. I'm talking about a spiritual message. The spiritual message is the earth loves her humans and she's welcoming us home. And we come home by learning how to belong in our own bioregions while collaborating with other bioregions up to continental and planetary scales. And so you can probably feel in the tone of how I'm sharing this story that I am deeply affected by what happened on this journey that we just finished. And it actually feels significant that as we were returning to Barichara, Colombia, I received the news that my brother had passed away. And I sat with the seriousness of how I watched over the last 2 years as his body broke down from the struggle with cancer and then all of the medicines that were given to him to try to keep him alive afterwards. And as his body was slowly dying, his spirit and his heart were coming to peace and he was healing. And I feel in a profound way that our colonizer extractive civilizations are doing the same thing. The heart and the soul of humanity is being healed by this dying process. And what is happening is something new is being born. A way for humans to integrate ourselves into landscapes with the best of indigenous knowledge together with the best of scientific knowledge in service to the healing of the earth. And I can feel the significance of this. So in closing, I just want you to know that we are now fully committed to weaving a planetary network of bioregions, held together, at least for our part, in a design school for regenerating Earth that will have online learning journeys and design labs, with a funding model where people pay membership dues into the design school to pool money into a fund to provide service and action from members of the design school into the bioregions that we're collaborating with. We're already collaborating with 4 bioregions in the Colorado River Basin in Colorado, in the Central Rockies. And now we're working with this web of bioregions across the eastern part of the Great Lakes. And we're already working in South America, where we're based in Barichara, Colombia. So we are beginning from this point forward with more than a dozen bioregions collaborating with each other, held together by the supports of our online hosting of our core team, and by these on-the-ground activation processes, and soon to be sustained by the design school itself. So thank you for listening. I hope you can feel the significance of this. This is a moment for stepping into our own deep healing processes together with our landscapes to find our way back into our bioregional identities. And from this place, we can regenerate the earth.